Hello, 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 and welcome to Of Dice and Them. We are a TTRPG actual play podcast, and tonight we are playing Blades in the Dark. My name is Tove, and I am your games master for this evening. Joining me, we have Bambi.
Hello, hello, hello.
Joining Bambi, we have Lou.
Hello, hello, hello.
And that's it. No Jack or Ralph tonight. You are joining us for our first ever duo adventure in Blades in the Dark.
Thank God.
Can't help but feel a pressure to speak, which isn't normally there. Usually I can sort of get myself lost quite nicely in a group of four, but, you know, see how we go.
Listener, here's a special guest.
Hello, listeners. It's me. I bet you didn't think you'd be seeing me today, did you? Ha-ha!
I certainly didn't. I was about to slag him off and say, oh, thank God we don't have Ralph here, but no, he's in the room.
Yeah, in the room, but cannot hear anything that's happening. So you can slag him off actually as much as you like.
Bye!
Oh, that's a relief. So Blades in the Dark being more episodic than Dungeons & Dragons, we have the option to have these smaller adventures when not the entire cast is available. If I recall correctly, you were ziplining over a canal to escape from a jewellery store robbery.
Correct.
And no one takes any notes for Blades in the Dark, do we? So we don't have anyone to look at for us.
Mm-mm.
Correct.
Then we'll pick up directly where we left off. Ziplining over the canal, you both look up and realise this is a rope made of tied together bed sheets. And the rope snaps, and you plunge towards the black waters of the canal below you. You prepare yourselves to hit icy water, but realise with horror that directly below you is a passing barge, its headlight illuminating the canal ahead, but its cargo hidden by canvas. Kuza and Tay, conveniently, hit the water with an almighty splash, but Randall and Gecko, you both hear the tearing of canvas and feel a wet slap as the wind is knocked out of you, and the details of the world fade away into nothingness. You come to the sound of shouting. It sounds like the barge captain is taking keen objection to you both taking a nap in his cargo. Next comes the overpowering smell of rotten fish. You appear to be lying in a pile of yesterday's catch, and while it broke your fall, it really does smell bad. You beat a hasty and slippery retreat away from the fish barge and skid to a halt on a nearby dock. You find yourself in the shadow of the Underchurch of Arena. You're in Westhook, a practically suburban district of the Undercity. But this is Forger sister territory, and scoundrels like you carrying bags of misgotten swag are not commonly welcomed with open arms.
I don't think Gecko was that bothered about the fish, to be honest.
It didn't actually make her smell any worse.
Yeah, she's probably smelled worse, been in worse, slept on worse.
And it's definitely not the first time Randall's woken up in a horrible pile of something.
But it absolutely disgusts him every time.
First time without a headache, though.
Woohoo!
Well, yeah, maybe that'll come later. So I think we can potentially skip the planning phase a little bit. I'll give you sort of where you are currently standing, but the objective here is to get back to the Shrieking Clam with your lives and your swag intact.
What is it? What are we carrying? Like, how obvious?
You are both carrying bags of jewellery and assorted gemstones that you pilfered from the jewellery store.
Oh yeah, good times.
I'm going to impose on you that you have to have at least a normal load for this, because you are carrying your haul from the last score.
And how many slots does that take? Or are we just saying it's just normal and...
I'm going to say you would have the normal load that you would get if you chose normal while choosing your load.
Mm-hmm.
And that will give you 5 item slots. And it's just, in addition, you are also carrying these big bags,
right,
which will be more narrative than mechanical.
Okie dokie.
But if we'd like to go through the dance of gathering a little bit of information, do feel free. Otherwise, we can crack directly on.
I mean, I guess my first thing would be just to kind of... I mean, I think Gecko was such a nervous person that, like, immediately it's just kind of like almost gone a little bit inward, making herself look as small as possible, but eyes are darting everywhere. Are there any? Where are the nearest windows? Where are the nearest doorways? How many of them are there? Are there any points that aren't lit that you can't see through? All of that kind of stuff.
So, okay, you are currently standing on a stone dock as the barge that was your transport pulls away into the night. The dock is surrounded by high stone walls, and you can see the church to the other side of those walls. The dock is largely empty at the moment. There's a couple of sort of empty boxes lying around. There are dark corners that you can hide yourself in. It's not particularly well lit. You can hear faint snoring from those boxes, and you can see a cellar hatch and a door leading away from the dock through the tall walls. So you don't feel that you are in present danger.
Right now.
Right now. Presently, no danger.
Have you been here before?
No, I do try and avoid these sorts, they don't really get on with all the debauchery I like to get up to, so I wouldn't really say our interests align.
That's fair. Tove, as somebody who controls a character that is one of my old crew, would Gecko have been here before, or near here before, or have any idea, kind of geographically wise?
You would, for free, you would know what part of the city you are in based on the fact that the big church is right there. You've probably had runs out into West Hook because moderately wealthy houses are around here that you may have had cause to burglarize in your past. I would say it's up to you whether you've ever actually been into the Underchurch of Arena.
I don't really think that she would be frequenting churches. But yeah, maybe in and around the docks, probably smuggling jobs.
Well, these docks specifically only lead to the church.
Oh, I see. Okay,
so
probably
these
not
are walled
then.
off, and just for this particular area you are in, you've probably not been to before.
Understandable.
And what do we know about the deity of this church?
Well, this is the sort of question it'd be really helpful to have Jack here to help with. So I'll dance around the edges of what he has allowed me to improvise about the wider world. Arena is like my understanding being like the mother god. She was the leader against Huron in the big divine wars. Randall, you having had some taste of an education in your youth, I imagine.
Classical
would
education.
know that a little bit of, a little bit. You would know that the Underchurch of Arena does things slightly differently to how Arena is worshipped in the Overcity of Saran and throughout the rest of Gragine. And that's how we're letting me say what the religion is like here. Well, Jack can say what the religion is like in D&D.
Excellent.
Perfect.
You would probably recognise general kind of Catholic themes, like this isn't, for example, god of torture. So you don't have anything immediate to worry about based on the fact that you were in this church.
Okay. And I see on our little factions sheet that we've got a -1 for the Forger Sisters.
Yes, the Forger Sisters, in fact, the only faction you've managed to piss off, and that was because of you, Gecko. They know your face.
Yay! What a great time that we're going to have.
So you know that they control West Hook. You know that they are part of the Underchurch of Arena. So the Forger Sisters dress the same as members of the clergy of the Underchurch of Arena. So you are not going to immediately be able to tell gang members from the clergy.
Right!
Yep.
However, that does present an opportunity if everyone dresses the same, including gang members, clergy, whatever else, and it's difficult for us to tell who's who. Does that also mean it's difficult for other people to tell who's who, and therefore could we use that as our advantage to move through the area?
It's a possibility.
Now we just need to work out how we get our hands on some gang threads.
Yeah, that's just like a gang thread surplus store just around the corner or something, right? Or they've had a load of boxes of them dropped at the docks and we just pry
had
one
a
open.
shipment
Yeah,
of uniforms.
yeah. Almost certainly some shit like that's going to happen.
This person snoring close to us, right?
Yes, you can hear snoring somewhere amongst the boxes.
But we can't see them.
Not from where you are standing at the spawn point in the centre of the docks.
Do you want to check that out?
Yes, sure. Yeah, I'll just kind of get...
Randall gestures over to the noise. Obviously with no intention of moving.
Yeah. Okay. And Gecko will have a little prowl over to the person and see if how much they can see from as far away as possible and going as quietly as possible.
Prowl away. I would say this is controlled, and I think the effect is going to be standard.
Understandable. Yeah, pretty controlled if they're asleep.
Yeah, you don't have too much to worry about if something goes wrong.
That's a 2 and a 5. So a 5.
Mixed success. You search through the boxes and crates that are piled high on the docks. You don't initially find him, and your heart is beating faster and faster as you start to worry that you're going to make some noise, wake them up, and your mind is racing with thoughts of guards rushing to the docks and throwing you into the canal, giving you one stress. But you do eventually quietly creak open a crate and find a monk inside one of these boxes. He's snoring peacefully with 2 bottles of port cradled in his arms.
And what's he wearing?
A hassock, I think is the right word. I wish Ralph was here. He'd tell me if that was the right word to use. He's wearing monk garb.
And
I
mean, monks, are they habits? Are we in habit territory? Or is that nuns?
I think nuns are habits specifically. I don't think monks wear habits.
No, that sounds
in
wrong.
this world in which we are playing pretend, monks wear hassocks.
Cassock! Tove, it's Cassock!
I hope that comes off on the recording.
Did that just pick up my microphone?
Just barely.
That's a dang shit. And that's not what the sisters and clergy wear, or is this? What is that?
If you were to strip him and wear his hassock, you would look like a monk. You would not be able to pass as a forger sister because they would all wear nun habits.
God, probably couldn't disguise the horns very well as anyway. So a hood would be useful.
It's not. Tieflings aren't excluded from the Underchurch of Arena.
Yeah, but they're pretty distinctive though.
Yes, that's true, and a forger sister would probably recognise you.
It's the light on the lake at midnight ear problem.
Yes, and there's no disguise kit in this game, so...
Yeah. I have got
I have a fine disguise kit.
Yeah, I was going to say,
there are disguise
in the dark
kits.
disguise kit as well.
Well, this score got a lot easier.
Yeah, but I feel like we wouldn't have planned for it, so I don't feel like my disguise kit would cover the exact kind of thing I need, so I don't want to use it.
No, you don't just carry around a hassock.
Yeah, I was scared of this coming up, but I was like, if I don't give them planning, they can't flash back to having a plan for exactly this. But I'm sure that won't come up, and it came up almost immediately. So yeah, we'll limit you a little bit. You may struggle to put together a disguise kit based on rotten fish and jewellery that you currently have with you.
Okay, I'm going to just relay this information to Randall, just so that we're on the same page. He's sozzled.
Oh. Randall gestures to hand one of the bottles over.
Gecko just kind of gestures that now they're empty, mate. Like, don't worry about it. Whether they are or not, I'm going to say that they're empty.
Yeah, Randall just looks disappointed and just continues looking round.
I think I possibly I possibly need to look at this a little bit closer than a cursory glance, because I don't feel like that Tove would have given us a snoring person unless they were important or useful in some way. They would just have been an abandoned dock and go ahead, guys.
Maybe it was a flavour snore.
Maybe it was a flavour snore. I'm going to have to take that chance, I think.
Well,
Does a hassock has pockets? Does it have a little satchel? Like, what's the deal?
Oh, he does! In his hassock is a ring of keys.
Got keys. Keys got keys.
Randall looks around for a lock.
You can see...
In the water.
You can see that there are, in terms of exits from the dock, there is the cellar hatch, and there is a door leading through the wall.
Which one seems the most hidden? Most cover? Easiest to approach and check?
There aren't any windows overlooking the dock, so you would be pretty free to sort of move around the dock as you want. The cellar, you imagine, goes into some kind of cellar. The door, you might guess, goes to something that lay people might...
Something?
Yeah, something that you might find helpful next to a dock.
Like a warehouse? Warehouses are next to docks.
I think perhaps we should try the cellar. Things are stored in cellars that I do like.
Gecko looks absolutely relieved at this prospect. She feels much more comfortable in the idea of like crawling around in the dark somewhere than walking through a courtyard of people she doesn't know that probably hate her. Yeah.
Well, absolutely spiffing then. On we go.
So you cross to the cellar and you are able to freely open the cellar hatch. Luckily, freshly oiled hinges don't squeak too much. You can see down into the dark. Gecko, you can see that this is an ordinary wine/kitchen/store cellar. With your dark vision, you're able to see that it's empty. Randall, you have to trust that Gecko isn't leading you to your doom as you creep down these wooden steps down into the darkness. But once you have found yourself in the cellar, you can hear the creaking of floorboards directly above your head. Sounds like there's several people directly above you, which you may be able to access from a ladder on the opposite side of the cellar, which Gecko sees. Randall is guessing.
There's a ladder. Shall I take you?
Is it the only way out?
Kind of flinches.
The fact that the room is dark and just Randall assumes that there's no one in it and just isn't used to whispering, so doesn't really...
Yeah, that's fair. I also think when they're dark just feel bigger. You feel like you kind of have to stretch out to make your voice heard. I mean, it looks like it. There's nothing in the cellar, nothing at all. So I guess it's just not in use anymore.
But there are quite obviously people above us. We wouldn't want to just, I like, merriment as much as the next person. But I think that perhaps now isn't the time.
I mean, you're right. Is there a keyhole or something in the hatch at the top of the ladder?
There is not from your side. It is just a trapdoor. You can see light maybe coming through the cracks of the floorboards above your head, but...
Can I go up the ladder and listen?
Yes, it sounds like there's a kitchen up there. And there are people pacing backwards and forwards with their sounds of boiling broth and chopping vegetables.
People are cooking up there. We haven't had much success sneaking through kitchens.
Yes, that is true. Traditionally, that is a weakness of ours.
It is also an MO by this point.
Are there any aprons or something in this room? Perhaps something we could don and, blag our way through?
I don't remember one from Tove's description. Oh, I'm going to give Randall my dark sight goggles.
Randall, you immediately see that this room is packed floor to ceiling with bottles of wine.
Damn it!
Hang on. I have an idea. takes a bottle of wine and just starts chugging it.
And Gecko immediately regrets her decision. She liked it better when she was his eyes.
Finishes it. Now I can think straight. Right. Here's the plan. What's going to happen is I'm going to brazenly walk right through the middle of the kitchen. If anyone stops or sees me, I shall make a scene, which will give you chance to scurry through to the next room, which we will hope is either empty or is equally easy to hide in. That's it. That's the plan.
I mean, you are pretty good at making a scene. I mean, it will make a scene slightly before it's due if you open a trapdoor when someone's walking and you knock someone over and they look into a hole and they see another person there. But it's worth a go. I suppose we... sorry, I don't know why I still have to say that in character voice. I guess it makes sense for us to kind of listen, wait until it sounds like footsteps are retreating rather than coming this way and go up that time. To like pick our moment a little bit.
Thinking with a view to just not try and open the trapdoor while someone's standing on it? Was that the goal there, or are you...
Yeah, not try and do it when someone's standing on it, and because
okay, yeah, that's a different,
if he randomly appears and could have come from somewhere else, that's normal. But if he pops it up and it smacks into someone, then they're going to investigate what else is in that trapdoor.
I think if you're going to try and get out of the trapdoor and pretend you didn't come out from the trapdoor, we would need a prowl. If you are just going to pass off that you were always meant to have been in the cellar, then we'd be looking at a consort or a sway.
What about we blag a delivery?
Oh, what? I'm just come through the cellar. Are there any boxes or anything around?
We come out, we say, who's here to pick up the delivery? And then, they'll send some people down, so that will thin the numbers. And then we can wing an excuse that means we have to progress beyond the kitchen to the next area.
I trust you to wing an excuse.
You throw open the trapdoor and ingratiate yourself into the kitchen. The lay people in the kitchen all turn to look at you. There's 4 or 5 of them of varying heights, shapes, species. And the one closest to you says, "Oh, sir, what are you doing down there?"
I just bought a delivery in, and
then exactly I've been waiting. What I was hoping for.
I've been waiting 15, 20 minutes, mate. Where you been? Go on, you want to get down there quick? Come on, you. Points at 4 of the 6. Come on, give us a hand.
I think that's a command. That sounds like.
And I am going to push myself.
Okay, for an extra dice.
It's probably quite important.
So mark a stress, take a dice.
Is that the first time that Bambi's actually elected to take stress in the whole thing? So good.
It's the only time it feels out of control. So
the series first.
Yeah, I think this is desperate, but I think the effect is standard.
That's a 6.
Oh, just the 1 6.
Just the 1.
Okay, so that's a success with no downsides. The one closest to you is a halfling fellow. He sort of stands up straight suddenly at the shock of being ordered to do something, and yep, come on, lads, let's go. Where was Brother Martok? He was supposed to be on the docks. They actually leave the kitchen via the door and make their way along what looks like a cloister out there. You then hear another door open and close after a little bit of jingling with keys, and they have disappeared. That was probably
the door that was our other option. We'd have just got here anyway.
Yeah, this works. But coming through the cellar, it's the plausible deniability that they thought, they've confusedly found their way in.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to open that locked door.
There's 2 more people in the room.
Yeah, but I think with a 6, they are making themselves look busy so that they don't get ordered to do anything else by this bossy man who has appeared.
And, where's John at? I've been dying for one.
Well, that's, this being a medieval town, I suppose they would have one if, there's probably latrines somewhere in the church that I had not planned for.
You didn't plan a pisser into all of your locations.
This tiefling woman points to the door that all those other people just left through, indicating that would be the way to the John. And then looks back at her work and chops onions furiously.
Walks like he means it out of the room.
I need a John too. And I follow.
You escape the kitchen without any great issue. You find yourselves in the cloisters of the Underchurch, a large square construction, which I really should have thought about how to describe. I sort of just thought everyone would know what a cloister looks like. So it's like 4...
Is there any in The Sound of Music?
I haven't seen The Sound of Music. Do they go to a monastery or a church? Everyone go away and Google what a cloister is, and you'll know that you are in one of them.
I can't believe
For people
it.
not wanting to Google, big square structure. It's like 4 corridors around a big square of, in our world, grass with open sides.
Found it. That's a university quadrangle.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Obviously, in the Undercity, it's not a square of grass, it's a square of gravel.
Slime.
Hagfish slime, yeah. Gecko, you can spot on the other side of the cloister there are 2 nuns and a priest walking in prayer. They haven't spotted you yet, but if you were to stay where you are standing, they would eventually reach you. Randall, you can spot that the door that those 4 lay people exited through is not too far away from you either, but there are other doors around the cloister that you may wish to make your way towards.
I mean, if this was a fantasy equivalent motion picture, we'd like chloroform them and take their uniforms.
I think perhaps it's best we just slip into a side door here and wait for them to pass.
Yes, in one of these arches, which probably have got dark things all around them, and I'm looking at several examples of right now.
So if everyone looks to the first result on Google Images, they'll know exactly which alcoves Lou is talking about. You tuck yourself away into a dark corner. You realise there is a door just next to you, which is ajar, and peering inside, you see an empty dining hall, which doesn't seem to lead anywhere else, but that's a little bit of flavour I had written down, so that's the flavour you're getting.
Banging.
You keep watch.
Are you sticking your head inside the dining hall?
Going in, no? I'd just hide in. You said it's empty. Just go in. Wait for the nuns and monk to pass.
Sure, yep. You duck inside the dining hall of flavour. You hear footsteps leading from the door back to the kitchen and annoyed muttering. I think your ruse has been seen through at this point as they realise that there was, in fact, no delivery. You also hear footsteps as the 2 nuns and the priest pass by, but you can still hear annoyed muttering coming from the kitchen.
They'll be looking out for us if they know that we're not supposed to be here.
Correct, so I think we should work fast.
Your hiding place currently is far away enough from the kitchen you think that you wouldn't have to try too hard to escape without being seen from the kitchen.
Unless they're proper do-gooders.
Unless they are properly hunting for you, which you don't currently suspect is the case.
They're just kitchen hands. They're not too worried, I would imagine. Well, I hope.
Yeah,
if I worked in a kitchen, I wouldn't. So, going off what I would do.
Above their pay grade, so don't worry too much.
Ain't no security guard.
I mean, I suppose we know that the kitchen, going through the kitchen, just leads us back to where we came from. So we probably need to press on.
I agree.
Pressing on, you do eventually find a promising-looking door off the cloister. Passing through it, you find yourself in the south transept of the church. Transept is just a part of the church. It's full of pews that have a sort of a bad view of the altar. From here, though, you can see 2 what look like nuns talking to each other. One of them is holding her palm out and peering at a black orb which is hovering a few inches above her palm. She's peering at it and saying, "Sister Cattle, were we expecting a delivery this afternoon?"
Oh, crap.
The other nun answers her, "No, Sister Hitsuji, we are not expecting a delivery. Why do you ask?" "One fellow has just interrupted the kitchen staff. I'm going to investigate." "Very well. I will lock the doors to the street. Tell me when they can be opened." And the sisters part ways, one of them passing by you, hiding amongst the pews, I imagine, as she heads out into the cloister. The other one heads further into the church, and after a few moments you hear a heavy bolt sliding shut. And you find yourself amongst the pews in a church. There are other doors leading from the transept, or you can head into the church proper.
People that are horny for monasteries are going to love this episode.
Oh, I googled so many words. You haven't even found the sacristy yet.
Oh, God. Okay.
So it was a sliding bolt, so it didn't sound like a key mechanism, so...
It did sound like a key. I maybe described that badly. You hear the jingling of keys after the bolt moved.
Ah, there we go.
We've got a ring of keys.
Ooh.
And it was a monk-looking fella.
It was a monk-looking
There's
fella.
a man in a hassock with a ring of keys.
How many keys?
Oh, like, dozens.
Both good and bad. Likely to have it, hard to find it. Alright.
The second nun who has stayed in the church moves up the... Oh, there is definitely a word for it.
Stairway.
The aisle.
Aisle.
The aisle. She moves up the aisle and is looking inquisitively up and down the rows of pews.
Probably walking away from the altar where the...
I would say she's walking towards the altar, assuming the doors to the street are at the opposite end of the nave to the altar. Another word I googled.
I mean, it depends, because there might be things off the back of the altar that's going up to out towards the vestibules or something like that, you know. So
Yes, in fact, you can see two doors behind the altar leading to things such as vestibules, sacristies, and offices.
Anything worth stealing?
Oh, there is gold.
it's a fucking monastery.
And you would know that the sacristy is a place where religious relics and other valuables are stored.
I mean, in for a penny. We're
So,
got a bag full of loot already.
I don't know if you've been in places like this before, Geg, but there's bound to be some very, very valuable relics, which I think, if they find us, we're in trouble. So we may as well steal as much stuff as possible, because, what are they going to do? Kill us more?
Gecko's just looking slightly taken aback that she was just called something that was approaching a nickname to the nickname that she has. And I don't know, she kind of surprised her a little bit.
She's like, I've made a friend.
I was like, oh my god, friend. No one's ever shortened my already strange name. I mean, yeah, that seems like a sensible thing to me. And everybody likes loot, right?
Big fan.
Yeah, and that will make people like us and want us and give us jobs and things. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get the grab it.
Which way are you heading?
To the stuff.
The securest looking door.
So you follow the glimmer of gold towards the altar. You're getting further away from Sister Cattle, I think, stayed behind. She's still working her way up the aisle, looking up and down the pews. She reaches where you were hiding, and you are relieved to have moved. You reach the altar. There is what looks like a golden statue of Irena in the centre of the altar. Behind the altar are two doors. Both look equally secure. You can't tell just from looking whether either of them are locked, though. There is a north door and a south door, let's say.
I'll try one.
Which one do you want to try?
South.
And I'll decide which one to go through. Going for the south door, let's roll a fortune die and decide. This one is not locked. As you open it, you find yourself in a little antechamber with a lot of scrolls and books lining the walls. You see what looks like an administrative desk in this room. And at the other end of this room, there is a door from which behind you can hear voices. It sounds like two people in discussion.
Books and people.
Not, information can be valuable, but not overly sure how much time we have to rifle through this. Perhaps just try the other door.
I can see what they're talking about, but we don't need any information really at the moment about this stuff or these people, so I suppose we don't take the chance.
Are you in this room, Randall? As you're thinking about it, Randall, you think you might recognise one of those voices.
Wait, hang on.
It's a masculine voice, speaking with an accent that you would find very familiar.
Hang on, I think I know who that is. Go into the room and creep closer.
Creeping closer to the room. Pressing your ear up against the door leading out of this antechamber, you recognise your brother's voice.
Oh.
Sounds like he's arguing with a woman about... Sounds like possibly about money, about credit for money. I mean, you're not too sure on the details, but it definitely sounds like some kind of an argument is taking place in there.
My God, it's fucking Rupert.
Why do they call him fucking Rupert?
They don't. That's just me. Little swine.
Oh.
Randall definitely losing some of his chill and calm and concentration on the situation at hand.
A bad person for us to run into, I guess.
He definitely recognised me, being as though he's my little brother and all. The little shit that stole my inheritance.
Oh, shit. Fuck. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know what having money is like, but I'm sure not having it anymore is pretty bad.
Yeah. You know what, actually? Screw this. I'm going to go give a piece of my mind. Goes to the door. The wine is definitely coming to him. Just, the door's open.
Yeah, flies open.
Fuck.
Okay.
Your brother Rupert looks at you with shock.
I was not expecting this.
A woman in sort of a glorious raiment looks at you in shock and surprise as well, and Rupert says, "Randall, what the bloody fuck are you doing here?"
Heard about your problems, mate. Thought I'd come and give you a hand. I know that you can never get over these things yourself, and you're always needing help from your big brother.
My problems? He's starting to go a little bit red in the face already. So, you are my problems, good sir. I am here trying to launder our family's reputation because of you.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means that Daddy has instructed me to make a generous donation. He looks at the bishop and sort of looks pointedly at her. A generous donation in order to get our good name put on some bloody, I don't know, plaque somewhere in this church to make the people forget about your misdemeanors. And the bishop says, "Well, we don't do plaques, but whatever the bloody hell it is you do."
Well, just because my, let's say, dark character traits are a little bit more visible, perhaps a little bit more public, your reputation's not squeaky clean.
Dark character traits. Dark character traits. What are you doing, Gecko, doing all this?
I was just about to say, I just didn't want to interrupt the flow. It was all going so well. I think Gecko sort of initially froze and ready to kind of do something if needed to be, but now it seems like they're just kind of having a kind of normal family argument. She's going to try the north door and keep half an eye on the yelling.
So the yelling continues out of the corner of your ear, we'll say. Sister Cattle is continuing to patrol the nave. This other door appears to be locked.
Do I have the keys, or does Randall?
Flashback.
No,
I have them. I took them off the monk, didn't I? Yeah,
okay.
I do.
Oh, that was easy.
Yeah, it was very easy. Okay, I'm going to, I guess, survey or have a look at the north door lock, because I assume that you've got various sort of different kinds of keys on the lock, and I want to sort of, before I start trying every key on the ring, I want to bring it down to a few options so I don't have to stand at the door for ages.
I would say perhaps even Gecko, knowing a little bit about locks, may inspect the bitting of the lock with a lockpick perhaps, and then compare that to the keys you've got. I don't know how medieval keys work, but that's something you might be able to do with a modern key and lock, so roll that survey.
So does that mean I can use my lockpicks as well to and
do that
something?
will increase your effect.
Because we know how items work maybe now.
Yeah, we learned. We'll say this is a risky move.
Just 6!
Oh, you immediately you're like, oh, I recognise that kind of lock, and I recognise that kind of key. The door opens.
That's a number 5 Mitchell lock.
Oh, exactly. And it just opens immediately. Inside this room, it is a small stone-lined room with a single window high up on the wall, which doesn't let any light in. Windows in the Undercity don't generally let light in. But once you're inside the sacristy, you can...
Just want to say it again.
Yeah, you can see crates, you can see ornate chests, you can see a display case with another golden statue inside. This place is ripe for the picking.
Excellent. Well, Gecko's been in this game for a minute. She's looking to see the things that have the best value to weight ratio.
You have a look around, you think, oh, there's a couple of bags of gold here. You sort of fill up your already bulging sack of swag with additional gold. You open a drawer and you see a familiar box which you filled with an arcane core not 2 weeks ago.
Ooh. So I've got a magic box.
Magic box, which is currently
arcane
sealed.
Implement. So it's literally the same one?
It looks like the same one. It's certainly the same make and model.
Interesting. Oh yeah, because we handed it to Pakistan, didn't we?
And she didn't say what she was going to do with it.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, let's have that. We know
you stuff that into your bag?
We know it's some sort of power source. That could be useful. I'll just make sure that I'm keeping half an ear out on the argument so that I know whether I've got to either get myself out of here because someone's too busy arguing with their baby brother, or whether I've got to worry about anything else, or the sister, or anything else.
So the argument has devolved into rehashing the exact same arguments you've always had with your brother, Randall. You do sense that someone is stepping up behind you, having heard your argument. And you also notice that the Archbishop has sort of crossed to stand behind her desk again. And she is looking behind you while this argument is ongoing. I think you've ensnared your brother, but the Archbishop is not currently occupied.
Interesting. You know what this upstanding member of society used to do? He used to take me to the bridge because his favourite game is spitting on nuns walking underneath. That's the kind of guy this is.
childish slander. I've never done anything of the sort. I am an upstanding, God-fearing member of upper-class society, and I will not have this. I demand that you have this man ejected from the church.
And then, turning around, you would come into this place, checking what's behind him.
Sister Cattle is approaching you with fists clenched, but she sort of stops when you see her.
You would come into this place and lie. You would lie in a house of God. Disgusting. Despicable. Okay, flashback. Right?
Yep.
Flashback. Randall spitting on nuns, laughing, and Rupert wanting to go home. Other flashback. Just before with Gecko.
Not a mechanical flashback. We're just going to take some stress to let everyone know that I'm a bad person.
With Gecko. Listen, right? If it looks like it's quite difficult to get out of here, I'll just make a scene and hope they escort me off the premises, and then you alone can sneak off. I think you've got more chance to achieve that alone without me. I'm not exactly the quietest or most dexterous or the strongest.
I mean, that's true, but also if one of us gets apprehended and thrown in a church jail or something, then
I don't think there's a word for that.
The other know. How will the other one know what's happened?
Well, if I'm not back at Pack of Stews within 3 days, just assume that it's all turned for the worse, but...
Okay, fine.
Back again. I'm not going to charge you for that flashback because you didn't actually really gain anything mechanically, I don't think. I demand this man is escorted from the premises immediately. Go get your sisters and drag him shouting from the church.
Actually, I was going to come here and I was going to have a confession, and I was going to try and absolve my sins, become an upstanding, great member of society. But this guy, obviously, this is the kind of company in this church you keep. I think that I shall take my piety elsewhere. Goes towards the door.
So Sister Cattle doesn't cede any ground. You get closer. She has the build of a half-orc and is filling the doorway with her shoulders. And the Mother Superior simply puts her hand up to silence Rupert and says, "How did you get in?"
Oh, what do you mean, how did I get in?
"The man's a drunk. He probably stumbled in on one of his benders." And the Mother Superior looks at Sister Cattle again, who shakes her head. Gecko, what are you up to?
Can I see what's in the little window?
It's too high up.
Is there anything that I could push underneath it to...
Yes, probably, but
onto?
it is really just a flavour window. I don't think it's going to really help your escape at all. It's like almost an arrow slit. It's so narrow.
Got it.
You can if you want. I'm not going to railroad you. We'll come up together. We'll work something out together.
My way through a flavour window.
Oh, that could be funny though. Yeah, maybe I do want you to go to the flavour window. Flashback. I brought some grease for this exact reason.
Do I have grease? There's a line for the trailer. Okay, I've lost my bearings. So these two doors are in the altar. There's no other doors this direction. The only other door out of it is back in the way we came at the other end.
Yep, you are behind the altar currently with these two doors going back into the nave. They are the doors that you came through in the south transept back to the cloister. The north transept doesn't appear to have any doors. At the west end of the nave looks like large doors out to the street, which you believe are currently locked.
Oh, and the sister's not in here right now because she's gone into Randall.
Which you would be able to see. You can see her back.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I do then. I turn around and sort of look back through the crack in the north door and see the sister go into that room, and I hear the noise level of Randall's argument increase.
Yep. You can probably hear
And-
every word at this point because the doors are both open.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that door is bolted, and I know it goes onto the street because that's what they were talking about. So I'm going to take the opportunity to try and get that door open, even if I can't go through it now, but to get it open so that Randall and I can make our escape at a point in the hopefully near future.
Okay, I'm going to say that you work out which key to use and unlock it, because everyone is currently distracted. As you do this, though, you hear the south transept doors to the cloister open again, and the sister with the scrying orb comes back into the nave with 2 more nuns at her back. And she calls out to Sister Cattle and begins making her way back to the altar. Randall, do you have your bag of swag with you at this point?
Yes.
Do you think?
Yeah, of course. Just carrying it. But I thought of a good excuse, could answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
So we heard the name of the monk, right? One of the people mentioned it.
Yes, and I definitely remember what it is. Oh, it was Martok, Brother Martok.
Martok. So it's like, well, I may be a drunkard, but, it's going around here. I've been drinking with Brother Martok, of course. He invited me in. We had a little bit of port by the dock, and I wanted to come home.
You notice the Mother Superior bristle at that, and you sort of, her nostrils flare, and she stands up a little bit straighter, like you've managed to find a chink in her armour. And Rupert then pipes up and says, "Of course, I told you the man's a bloody drunk. Drag him from the sacristy. We're not in the sacristy. Drag him from the church." And the Mother Superior looks you up and down. And I think I want a roll here.
I'm going to push myself.
He's going for it, ladies and gents.
I don't want to fail. I feel like I'm so close. Okay. 6. There we go. Just the one.
Jesus Christ, you've 3 action rolls and they've all been 6s.
I brought 3 dice for each of them, so...
Yeah, so, okay. And it doesn't matter whether that was command, consort, or sway, because you have the same number of points in all of them.
Yeah.
The Mother Superior looks at you, looks at Sister Cattle, looks at the 3 additional sisters who have appeared in the office behind Sister Cattle, and simply says, "Escort this man from the premises. Rupert, you will be taking responsibility for this man, will you?" And he says, "Oh, I always bloody do. That's why I'm bloody here, aren't I? Jesus. Jesus, who's that?" "By Huron."
Some guy I know from the pub.
Well, guess I'll be seeing you around, brother.
"Oh, I fucking well hope not." And he turns his back on you as the sisters put a hand on each of your shoulders and escort you back into the church. Gecko, you see a small army of nuns come out of the office, dragging Randall by the scruff of his neck. What are you doing?
I guess I'll dart into a pew. The door's open, but I can't just open it. I'll see that.
Okay, so you dart into a pew. The nuns drag Randall to the door. Sister Hitsuji pulls out her set of keys and attempts to unlock the door, finds that it is already unlocked,
Oh, fuck.
and looks at it briefly, pulls her keys out, opens the door, and Randall, you are tossed bodily down the stone steps of the church, and they close the doors behind you. Sister Hitsuji locks it, unlocks it, locks it again, and rattles it in its hinges, and then takes a step away from the door, looking at her keys, looking puzzled, but she doesn't say anything to the other sisters by the looks of it. And they begin to head back up the nave to the offices behind the altar.
I mean, I guess I just have to kind of wait for them to leave and then try and sneak out. I guess I'm probably finessing that, or
Yeah, give me a finesse.
Oh, dang. Okay, hold on.
This is a finesse in order to unlock and open and escape the door without them necessarily coming back. Okay.
I think I'm going to push myself. I need to get out. That's one extra dice, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
This is, I think, risky and standard.
I got a 1 and a 1 and a 5.
Okay, so you make it to the door, you pull the keys out, you remember which key it was, you start opening it, you pull the door open, and as it opens, you feel a burning along the side of your face and a thunk into the wooden door next to you, and you see a dagger vibrating in the wood next to your face, and you feel a trickle of blood run down your face as you take a level 1 harm of cut face.
Cut face.
But the way is clear.
Do I see Randall through the door?
Oh,
is he still
Randall,
reclined there?
Any bars or just any close by drinking places would have...
Probably not directly opposite the church, no.
I mean, you've also literally just been chucked out.
Any, like, homeless vagrants drinking on the side of the road?
That you could just hang out with.
Yeah.
Well, we could say you're staggering your way out of the district. You've collected whatever you scattered on the floor as you hit the ground. Yeah, Gecko, you see a shambling man making his way up the street.
As soon as I'm through the door, I'm legging it, and I shout, "Run!" to Randall, but careful not to... I mean, obviously the people inside know who he is, but I could be calling to anyone. So on the vague off chance that they don't link us. Seems unlikely, but...
No, I'm with you. You're getting away, Randall.
Just continues to shamble his way down the street. He doesn't run. He's not much of a runner, is Randall, so...
Okay, you, Randall, you can hear the doors fly open and people pour out of them, but the footsteps don't seem to give chase. And Gecko, you are away. Randall, you are away.
Yes. Smooth and sleek.
Score complete. Thanks for listening to Of Dice and Them. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a review on your favourite podcasting platform and subscribe to be notified as soon as new episodes drop. In the meantime, give us a follow at Of Dice and Them on social media, where you can also find out how to follow our cast. And we'll see you next time. And we're going to have a bumper downtime to do next time.
Gonna have some banking to do.
Every hero strikes out on their adventure for a different reason.
To prove myself worthy of my mother's praise.
To write my own story and discover who I really am.
To prove to my family that I am more than they believe me to be.
To revive the god that has chosen me.
But when the fragile balance of the world is in jeopardy, and sinister forces move in the darkness, heroes will be tested, pushed to their limits and beyond. And it will be left to them to determine if they are up to the task. There is a darkness rising. Will they be able to overcome the challenges and meet this evil head on?
For my god.
For my story.
For my freedom.
For the world.
To restore the balance. Modified Role Season 2, The Chronicles of Erin, a D&D 5e actual play podcast. New season, new characters, new story. Find us on all the usual podcasting apps or at modifiedrole.com.